Hi there, and a warm welcome to this book review. It's a little bit more than a short book review. I want to talk a little bit first about what is going on in this book, in these seminars that David Bohm held. So I feel, or the general idea, is that Bohm thinks that he can, or we can, accomplish a relatively accurate map of the process of thought. He will do this by clear observation and sound inferences. So the general feeling when many people read the book is that he has a lot of information and a lot of ideas and a lot of ways of giving examples and bringing things together. So it's quite clear that at least he can accomplish a relatively accurate map. So if we are able to create such a map in our heads, write it down, talk about it, then we can test it against our own experience, our own direct life experience. The way we are thinking, our thoughts, we can test it against that. Is it a useful endeavor? Does it reduce conflict in any way, in ourselves, in the world, or not? Now, these seminars were held some 30 years ago, and we can ask ourselves, is this going to happen anytime soon? Are a lot of people going to get together around this? So probably not. It's possible in the future that it will be taken up or made accessible in such a way that people understand what it is all about. But meanwhile, there is nothing stopping us to see for ourselves if this is what we are interested in, the process of thought. What can we do with it? Can we understand it? Can we map it out? Is it useful? So the way the attempt or the discussions are presented in this seminar is first, what is the main question? The first question is that something is causing a lot of trouble for human beings on this planet. What is it? Is it politics, economy, these kind of things that we often talk about? Or is it something else, more specific, if we look at the root of it, or as close to the root as possible? What is it that is causing all these problems? So this is where Bohm confidently then says that it is in the process of thought that we find the problem. If we look for what the problem might be or what the source might be, he says, it's in thought that we find the problem that causes things to go wrong in the way they are doing. Something in the process of our thinking, of our thought, is causing this sustained incoherence, this stubborn problem. It's creating, recreating, maintaining the problem we see in the world. So, in order to see this, David Bohm says, how can we make this clear or visible? So the first thing he says, if we look at thought as a system that spreads out into many areas that at first, or generally, we do not consider related to thought. So we have the body, the chemistry of the brain, a lot of things, culture, many things that Bohm brings into the process of thought. He says all the parts affect every other part. So in order to get the depth or the need to see, we have to consider thought as being a system. One major aspect of this thought process that Bohm brings up relatively immediately has to do with what is thought, how does it function, how are we going to break into this. And he says one aspect is that thought operates as reflexes. Something is registered, and then when we come across something similar next time, these reflexes appear, they trigger each other. So they trigger a response, and the reflexes doesn't just trigger a simple thought, but they trigger another reflex and another. And when our other complex cognitive areas are triggered like this, thought comes in and through very high activity is trying to bring all of the information together. So it's operating partly as reflexes, but also by being highly active. There are many factors that need to be considered in order to get a picture or a map of what is going on. And one thing that we can see, and that Bohm says, is that thought, it operates on its own. It's a bit like an unattended machine. It's organizing, putting everything together. And it's doing all sorts of things unless we pay attention to it. He also says, which is not so easy to see, but he says that when we look into how thought operates, we find that it doesn't follow the same pattern as nature or cosmos in general. Perhaps that is one reason why science puts it a bit to the side. They think that perhaps thought, it's important, but it's not, if you compare it to the size of the universe, it's not that interesting that we can think of it. That is a very superficial way of putting it. But the point being that thought is working in an arbitrary way. So this is associated with this is remembered, this is not, this is overlooked, this comes into the picture, this appears, that doesn't appear. So it's a little bit more like it's bouncing around in there, the reflexes. And the sensitivity to the sensitivity to the intelligence that is there in nature and cosmos also has a role to play, but it seems to be optional if we want to use it or not. Self-awareness is not built into the order of thinking. Then there is another major part which makes it complicated. It is that thought takes part in our perception. We don't just see, hear and get a clear picture. Thought is part of it. So actually, as time goes by, we could say that it's the fact that thought takes part in perception in such a way that we tend to perceive the way we think rather than perceive and think about it. So our general idea is that we perceive or see a lot of things and then we think about it. But Bohm points out that in fact we actually perceive the way we think. And thought has this way of operating that it is concealing what it is doing. It means that the thoughts don't appear in perception. If we look at what we are aware of, we may have feelings and we want to get rid of those, but the thought that is causing the feeling is not showing up. That means that it's confusing or difficult to see what we are supposed to look at. It is perfectly normal in some areas. Driving a car, you don't have to think what every sign means, but in fact knowledge is behind it. That is why you understand it. So the main part, or the first part of the book, Thought as a System, is about mapping out, getting a strong feeling, a clear picture of what thought is doing. So as Bohm shows us, we can indeed map it out. And what is also very important is that he shows us we can suspend the system. We don't have to act out according to how it is operating. We can suspend it, we can pause it. It doesn't mean necessarily that we can change it. It means that we can pause it and learn about it. We can bring out the thoughts that are running the show. So many people are aware of that we are conditioned by our culture, by our parents, by our upbringing, by thousands of years of being human beings. And this is having the effect of thoughts and feelings and behavior in our daily lives. And this machine or this reflex mode or this system can be suspended. We can pause it, we can look at it, learn about it, and we can put words on what is going on. We can bring out the words that are concealed or not shown to us. So the first part again is that mapping this out, all the ingredients, the parts of the system, and it is helpful. But there are parts of the system that are very rigid. We have belief systems, wish to survive, our belief in time, belief in ego and me. It shows us, once we have a good understanding, we also notice that when it's time to change, we find that we can't simply go in and alter and put things in order. Something more is required if we wish for change. So these are thoughts that Bohm also brings out in the book, in his seminars. What is it that is required for us to be able to, what he calls, touch the reflexes, touch the chemistry? What is going to be powerful enough to change these patterns that are going on inside of us? And this is a small introduction, and I hope it will become clear if the book is read carefully, and of course with the help of looking into the other seminars as well. I've spent quite a lot of time looking into these matters and thinking about them. I wish it was easier for me to express clearly, straight, and indeed show or share a clear map of thinking. But even if it's clear, somewhat clear to me, it doesn't mean that I can express it the way I see it in a very short and concise manner. But I think it's interesting anyway, and I hope you do too. And if you wish to interact with anything, please do so. Okay, good luck. Thank you.